Hi guys, Mama Key again. So we spoke about the survival instinct and how money has come to become a cognizant parallel to survival instinct, and that we think that in order for us to survive, we need money. How do we tame the survival instinct? Whether it's money, and the same goes for relationships, the same goes for love. How do we heal codependency? How do we heal any form of dependency outside of you, any form of dependency external to you, any form of neediness, that I need this, I need that, or I need this person, I need this situation, or anything that is a sort of condition to how you exist, a condition to how you flourish, how you thrive, all of those little things that we need to tick. How do we come out of that, and how do we tame the survival instinct? So first is to see how your survival instinct came to be. So we walk back in time, we walk back into conception of you, we walk back into the blueprint of your parents, we walk back into how you first experienced survival. So when you go back to your timeline, you go back to your infancy, as far as you can remember, as far as you're able to gather the information from your parents, depending on what your relationship is with them. Were you fed on time? Did you cry a lot? Were your needs met then as an infant? Now, between infancy and around the age of 3, when you start developing your your left brain, and you're able to talk, at that time, a lot of what we experience is that it's an experience that gets coded into our memory. It gets coded into our experience bank, which will then set a base over which we will then have other experiences. So that's like a primary base. So that's when we start to develop our sense of danger, our sense of comfort, our sense of what the world is how we were treated at infancy. And you slowly progress that into toddlerhood. When does the sense of self start to develop? Toddlerhood. When your little one starts to walk, when they start to understand that I'm not just an extension of my mother, I'm not just an extension of my parents, but then I am my own person. And this is when we go through the stage when they are saying no a lot. They want to do things in the way that they want to do it. And this is when we say the me do it stage. The no, I want to have it my way, and this is what my way is. Now at that stage, as parents, we can shape their view of resources, we can shape their view of emotions, their view of relationships, their view later of love as well. When they get into relationships, and whatever we go through in our relationships, a lot of this will have a lot to do with the way that we developed at these different stages. So critical periods, sensitive periods of how our brain decided to take on all of these experiences. So chances are, if you were shown a lot of love, if your needs were generally met, because let's face it, we probably won't be able to meet each and every need, or won't be able to satisfy. Today my son wanted to drive my car and couldn't understand why he couldn't drive his car. So rather than saying, no, you just cannot drive the car just because mom said it, or just because, go through the process of explaining, your feet don't reach the pedal yet, your legs aren't long enough, it's unsafe, it might be dangerous, mama might not be able to save you if the car were to speed off onto the road, and to just spell it out as much as possible. Now back to money. Same thing with money, and the same thing with when they need us, when they want our attention. A lot of the times we might not be able to give it to them right away. So rather than getting frustrated, rather than getting anxious, spell it out. And you can even say something like, I am feeling. Mama is feeling very, very frustrated right now, but it's not about you. It's about me. It's but there's a fine line there as well. Now, money. When we go to a shop, and if you feel that you might have to say no, or we might have to get into that stage where our response to I want this and I want this toy may have to be a no at that stage, again for whatever reason, then take them to places where they don't have that kind of an opportunity, or instead of saying no, you offer an alternative. And how about something else we saw somewhere else? But when we use, so whatever phrases or sentences we remember, we have that sort of impact, and we're going to have that sort of impact as parents, because whatever we say registers and it is absorbed, and it comes to manifest later on in their lives, and just the way that they will then relate to the world. When we say, I can't buy that, Mama has no money for that, or no, we don't have enough money for that, or we can't afford that, oh no. So they start to develop the concept that we need money to survive, because for a child, everything is survival. For them, getting their toy is survival, getting the food that they want, getting that ice cream that they want is a mixture between survival and their source of love. So a lot of those concepts that we have developed come from that stage. Why do we have lack? Maybe that's the way we were brought up, that no, you can't have everything. And so somewhere in us you have that mentality, no, I can't have everything, and therefore you can't have everything. Now, if we can start off, so first you identify all of these things about us. Once we're able to identify these and write them down, go for a walk, take whatever, meditate, do what it takes for you to identify the crap that's still sitting inside of us. And a telltale sign of that there is a crap, that there is that's still sitting inside of us, is when we react in ways that are not expansive but are contracting our consciousness. So we react, or we go back to those little tantrums or toddler tantrums in the way that we deal with all of these situations. So taming the survival instinct. Now, what happens when you didn't have a parent with that level of awareness, or a caregiver, or even the way that society was at that time? What happens when you just already have this imprint? Now, what do we do about it now, right? So what we do about it now, because we have the tools, is to expand our awareness, is to first dig these things out. Once you're able to dig it out, is to find that's when affirmations are of use to us, is when we start to affirm, I am safe, I am relaxed, I know that my needs are going to be met, I know that I have. So your starting point again is I have this, I have me, I have my wealth is me, my wealth is who I am, my wealth is my awareness of me, my wealth is my sensitivity. So do a love letter to yourself, and you start to affirm that. But your affirmation will only work with three things. One is that you've got to repeat this. Second, the thrust with which this happens. So a lot of times you will need a lot of emotion, and you'll need a lot of belief, and you've got to be focused and attentive and repeat, keep repeating that. Your awareness will help you catch those moments, the survival moments, which are usually how, and you might find your mind wandering about. So if you've lost your job, if you've lost a source of income, for you, your mind, even when you've given yourself these affirmations, you might find yourself thinking about, oh, let me look for a 1-bedroom flat, let me look for this, let me search of ways of now finding money somehow, because I just quickly need to get all the money I possibly can so that I can either maintain my lifestyle or reduce it a notch, but to keep my survival. Okay, now those are the kind of things that's when we say I'm safe. Now, as soon as you feel that way, you will become receptive, and all of the gunk, all of the dirt, all of the crap that's sitting inside of you, all of the things that are hindering you will suddenly just explode out. Explodes out, you're then left with a void, you're left with a container, and this process can happen very, very quickly, and it can take years and years and years. It just depends on how willing you are. One of the things that stops us from doing a timeline search, or one thing that stops us from going back into our timeline, is we fear what we're going to unleash. One, the stigma attached to looking back at your parents, because let's face it, not all of us have that kind of we're not that brave to embrace that, my gosh, my parents didn't give me the kind of parenting, or that they are not to blame, right? They only did what they could in their way, whether it was intentional or not intentional. That's the way it was. So it's all about their level of awareness. So there's no judgment here. This is merely your exercise to remove all that no longer serves you, so that you can serve just yourself. You can serve your needs, your highest needs, right? So we can go from saying, I don't need all this food, I don't need to keep buying these things, actually I don't actually need this much money. So once we are in that state, you'll find you may even just automatically start to attract opportunities that generate income, and therefore more energetic exchange value. Or you might suddenly find money in different places, or it might just come so easy to you. And the other magical thing that might happen to you is that you start saving. You just start seeing your money grow. Where you thought you needed 10 of something, you realize actually I just need 1 of it. But what's important here is the mindset that with which this is happening is not one of I'm saving for a rainy day, is not one that is, oh, I better scramble all the money I have together, to save, or to avoid having to go through, it's like an insurance policy. No, we're not doing that. So very, very important here is what was behind your motive, your mindset, whether it comes to saving. Because if it's about saving and saving and saving, you may not be living then, okay? Because then your focus is going to be on accumulating, but then again you're not going to live. Okay, so our intention here is to live a full life, live a life of reverence, live a life of abundance. We tame our survival instinct. So we tame our survival instinct, one, by owning it, by realizing that you may have within you certain things that need to go. So you identify that using awareness. Second, once you've identified that, you develop a mantra or an affirmation or a way that you want to be, which is I am. You could say I am, just I am, but I am infinity, I am possibility, I am whatever you want to be. Because even by saying I am wealthy or I am abundant, you're limiting yourself to just abundance as well, right? So just want to leave it as I am. Let's see what tomorrow holds for me. Let's see what today holds for me. We wake up in the morning and just see, wow, what is today going to bring for me? What have I got to bring for today? Look at the sun, look at the sky, look at the birds, hear the birds, look around you. There's just so much love around us, and so much synchronicity. But all we need right now is awareness. You get the awareness, you have your attention, you focus, put a lot of emotion in it. Because remember, in order for you to excavate, in order for you to leave an imprint, a mark on you, to develop a new mindset, you will need that much of a thrust that you received when the imprint was first left on you. Okay, so we need something even bigger. So it's like when you survive trauma, when you're a trauma survivor, the only, well, as far as I'm aware of, the way to deal with that, trauma will not come out. It'll keep haunting you until you have a force as the trauma. Accept, the opposite of that, which will be so much love or so much positivity that will be able to seal that trauma and put it to rest, put it to bed completely, so it's no longer in your imprint. To get this out, keep repeating, keep your affirmations going, but believe in your affirmations. And if you're unable to believe in your affirmations, go back to your timeline, go back to why you're not able to believe in it, and face it. Face it. If you had a crappy childhood, you had a crappy childhood. If you had, things that happened to you, they happened to you. But get past the stigma of not questioning and not going back. Do it, and you'll come back light. You'll come back as a container. You'll come back as a vessel that you are here for, and you'll be able to live a life full of abundance, full of richness, full of you, the way you want it, because your canvas is bare. Paint at will, because you're worth it. Just remember, it is your story. Begin to rewrite it. Blessings, Mama Key.